Hi, everybody. Welcome back as we continue our CyberRisk TV coverage of the Identiverse conference here in Las Vegas at the Aria Resort. And I'm joined again by my colleague, Paul Wagenseil. Hello.
Hello.
So, there have been a few talks this morning, and you've been out exploring. What have you learned today?
What have I learned? What I've learned is how difficult it is these days to do remote liveness, remote authentication, sort of liveness detection. A lot of companies, of course, have remote workers. A lot of people are interviewing and hiring remotely. The real question is, how do you establish that those people are real? It used to be easy. They used to flash an ID. We got beyond that a few years ago when it got so obvious you could fake an ID. But now you have liveness detection. You have to prove to the person that someone is really there, on screen, talking with you, moving their head around. That seems pretty straightforward, or at least it did until a few years ago. Unfortunately, now it's very, very easy to do a deepfake, even on a live video stream. We've been hearing rumors in the past couple of weeks about a sort of business enterprise compromise that took place in a major firm in Hong Kong, where a CEO was deepfaked and convinced a financial officer to transfer, a double-digit sum of millions of dollars to criminals. I was recently informed this morning that it was not just the CEO, but the entire board of the company that was deep-faked. In other words, they faked several people at once on a conference call targeting a financial director who could make that transfer. That's pretty serious stuff. So what a lot of companies are doing now is trying to race and beat these techniques and figure out how to thwart them, how to detect deepfakes, even in live settings, even in live streaming settings. The FIDO Alliance just announced yesterday that they've developed the first certification of their own for facial recognition. The first company to be approved on that is iProve, which is an English company. We had the head of the FIDO Alliance speaking this morning in a keynote address, talking about this problem, and it's a big one. And the U.S. government is trying to address it as well. A lot of academics are too, and it's a big deal. And it's interesting, and it's fascinating, and yes, it is Mission Impossible stuff. And it's really cinematic, and it's kind of both thrilling and frightening at the same time.
Yeah. So let's zero in a little bit on what companies are trying to do. And you mentioned just trying to get ahead of deepfakes, but what are you seeing and hearing today about some of the specific ways in which identity security providers are working on the problem?
Well, there's some interesting things. One thing is that it's technically possible to sort of detect a copy of a copy, especially when it's an image. A lot of it has to do with the sort of dynamic range, color-wise, the spectrum used in an image. It gets reduced every time you make a copy. It's something that's not really that visible to the naked eye, but it's really pretty visible to a machine that can detect that. Another way that I heard about this morning was during a sort of like liveness test. If you can control both ends, you can prove that somebody is who they say they are by sort of shining a pattern of random light colors upon them as they speak. And that sort of verifies their identity, because it's hard for a deep faker to fake that in exactly the right sequence and exactly the right way. So in a way, what one company is trying to do is throw obstacles in the way of deep fakers. Just wrenches in the road. Well, that's a bad analogy, but just throwing tire strips in the road, just making it more difficult.
Kind of like the deception technology that we heard so much about a few years ago, and it's still there, but a lot of it's been melted into the bigger infrastructure providers. So it is scary. I mean, if one thing is clear after 3 days of Identiverse. It's that AI, deepfakes, other ways of weaponizing identity is, really it's a sharpening
Yeah.
concern. It's not a new concern, but I think AI and deepfakes is really, we've seen this upping of the ante so far in 2024. And I'm encouraged to see all of the companies that are here talking about it.
Yeah.
And, Ping, with that keynote, it was front and center with a demo of a deepfake. And so it's encouraging just to see the focus and the direction. What remains to be seen is what kind of damage happens in the meantime before everybody really becomes good at detecting this sort of thing.
Right. Right.
And like everything else, it's going to be the race.
Yeah.
We make some advancements, bad guys change their tactics. Security companies make more advancements, and on it goes. But a lot of great sharing this week, a lot of great solutions out there. So we will, sometime in the next few days, on SC Magazine, have kind of a post-mortem, we could call it that. But really some content that lays out what we've been seeing here this week. Some of that we'll also be talking about on Security Weekly. And, Paul, it's been great being on this adventure with you this week. With the launch of CyberRisk TV. Very exciting. Also, a big thank you to Ron Eddings for helping us out this week with all of the interviews we had. And a huge thank you to all of our sponsors, all of the companies that have been here this week, really putting their best foot forward in the fight for better identity security. And much more to come in the content that we produce as we unpack this week. But it's been great serving you here, and thank you for joining us throughout the week. So, welcome to CyberRisk TV. We are launched.